And we are live. Welcome everybody. It's your boy J Dub, aka Kratos, the god of PlayStation. And special guest, as usual. When you see him, you're probably gonna see me. Craig, go ahead and tell everybody about yourself, man.
At Craig Harris with Craig's Corner and the Porch Light Podcast and the soon-to-be Little Bit Mo PC Show podcast.
Nice, man. Nice. Nice. Tell people what you're doing with your channel, man. What's the direction you're going? What do you see yourself a year from now?
Oh man, that's a good question. Honestly, I do not know. I want to learn how to do editing, but they said that I need some kind of capture card called Elgato or something like that.
Yeah.
And which I'm like, oh, that's something else you got to go and buy. And but I also need to learn how to use the Share Factory on the PlayStation, because apparently you could do a lot of stuff with that. I just have not sat down to do anything with it. It's just something because again, I turn my PlayStation on and I put a disc in there or something I've downloaded. I start playing. I don't care about nothing. I don't listen to the music, even though you put music on there. I don't listen to it. You know, that's not what I got it for. But But so yeah, where I see it, I don't know. It just depends on where everybody ends up taking it. I do, like I said, it's very humbling. It's growing, and so I'm very humbled by it, by the subs, and just keep trying to bring the content to them. So.
Definitely, that's one thing I like, man. With the people who sub and the people who are always in the chat section rocking out with us. These guys have become, kind of, sort of as a friend. These are the same guys that we chat with on Twitter, YouTube, and other social, Facebook and stuff like that. And you get to know these guys. Like, for example, Halo Storm, he's in the chat section. Savage Uger, the Almighty Spartan Guard. The regulars that come and support us and listen to our content and stuff like that. And they are the channel. You guys make up the channel. And we try to provide content that you guys like having. And one thing I like about Craig's channel is, every now and then he'll have someone from the chat section, just a random guy, come in and say, if he has anything to say, he can come in and speak the piece and stuff like that. He had Halo Storm on one time and other people. And I think that's great for a lot of people. I didn't consider myself a YouTube content provider, but I got on a podcast and I got on another one, and before you know it, the chemistry is going and there's a ton of topics and you just fit in. And as long as you guys keep supporting us, we'll keep doing it and we'll keep growing and giving back to you guys. And thank you for doing that. This particular show here, it's not going to be a long show, but this is a response to new information that has come out regarding one of the biggest YouTubers out there. His name is PewDiePie. A lot of you guys may know of him or you may not. But my first run-in with him was, I was in my son's room. I walked in his room and I heard some cursing and I looked. And my son, he's always on YouTube. He's watching stuff like FGTV and a bunch of kiddie shows, but he also goes, to those channels that make him laugh and where people make funny noises and funny faces and screams. And and that's how I guess he ran across PewDiePie and he was watching him and I heard some cursing. So I walked in the room and I made him change it. And little by little, I got to know what PewDiePie was about and all the money that he made from YouTube and stuff like that. And but I never subbed to him and I never really watched his shows or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is kind of a big topic. I will try to not make it political. It's not political. It's just some common sense and common courtesy items. Just as a human being, there are some things that you should do and some things that you shouldn't do. And it all depends on your own perspective. And I just want to give you guys my take on it, and then Craig will get your take on it, and then we'll see if somebody in the comment section has something else to say. But from what I know, from what I watched, PewDiePie was doing a live stream of PUBG, And during that live stream, he used a racial epithet. And it's not like it was one of those terms of endearment ways of saying it. Not that that makes it any better, but he said it in a manner where he felt really comfortable with saying it, and in using it in the context that he used it in. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. And you know, I see a lot of guys trying to downplay it, saying, it's not a big deal. You know, it's all this PC culture, all this politically correct culture. It has nothing to do with about being politically correct. This is just the fact that you are live streaming. People are watching you. You felt comfortable to say this word, not even changing or altering it as the term of endearment that a lot of, you know, Black people use it as, because again, the origin of this word was to denigrate people of color, you know, specifically Blacks. And that word was used back in the day for a very, very, very derogatory term. And so what a lot of Black people have done over the decades, they've took that word and twisted it. They twisted the meaning and the way you say it to make it sting a lot less, to make it as a term of endearment for them and their people and their family and their friends or whoever they deem it to be, you know, fitted towards. So, you know, and that's just kind of where that word ended up. I do think we need to get rid of the word, but I also realize it's harder than just saying it. But at the same time, we all know the origin of it. We all can't, you know, nobody's denying where that word came from and how it's used and what the context it is. So for people to say, oh, it's okay, and he didn't mean this, and he was just doing it because he was in a gaming, and, you know, sometimes you just say stuff you don't know. There has never been a time that I've been playing a game and I wanted to denigrate somebody by, you know, saying some other racial epithet towards a Latino or a white person or Asian person. Because that's not in me. That's not what I do. That is not comfortable to me. And that should not be comfortable to you, especially someone who is live streaming. You have millions of people watching you, and you felt so comfortable to say this, a effing N-word. So I think, you know, he definitely needs some sponsors taken away. He probably, you know, an example probably needs to be, because this is not his first run in. Just a few weeks back, he said some Nazi stuff about the Jews. So, you know, last week it was the Jews. This week is the Blacks. Next week is going to be the Latinos and Asians. Well, you know, how are you going to continue to damage control this? This is something that should be clear cut. And let me make it clear to all my white brothers and sisters out there, you guys that subscribe to me and we kick it with, you know, you kick it with me. You're truly my friends, and I'll talk to you. I want you to know that I need you to speak out against this. I don't want to hear you trying to make it okay, because it is not okay. You know, it's you know, people like to say it's okay for you to say it's PC, it's politically correct. So, you know, people are snowflakes. They're just whining over nothing. It's okay. It's okay until the hammer hits you on the head. It's easy to dismiss something when it's not affecting you. But once the shoe is on the other foot, you become the snowflake. You become the PC person. So this is a clear-cut case, guys. There's no in between. There's no politicizing this. This is no Democrat versus Republican. This is no left-wing media versus right-wing. This is none of that. This is just a YouTuber, a content provider, using racial stuff during his podcast, where he gets paid by sponsors and by views. This is what it is. He, you know, and all of that, you know, hey, I'm sorry. Well, guess what? You were just sorry a couple of weeks ago. Now you're sorry about this. No, you're not, because you were comfortable with saying that. So, you know, it's let's try not to minimize this, guys. I'm not saying that it's the end of the world, but at the same time, seeing some of you guys damage control and try to take up for that. If you'll take up for that, man, you'll take up for anything. And if you don't want to be associated with a term that's called racist or racism, if you don't want to get the fingers pointed back at you, then don't hang around a group of people or a bunch of people who are associated with that. Don't support that.
Facts.
You know, I'm lucky because a lot of my friends on YouTube and Twitter have come out against that, whether they're black or white or Latino or Asian. They have. And I rock with you guys. I rock with you guys. Thank you for doing that. Again, this is not a Sony versus, you know, Microsoft thing here. You know, I know we're a gaming channel, but every now and then we do use our platforms to, you know, to bring some. This guy is a content provider and he plays video games. So yes, it is. If you don't want to hear about this subject, whatever, feel free to go elsewhere. But at the same time, guys, this is just my conversation about that. And so I'm, you know, Craig, you have what you have to say about it, man?
Yeah, I mean, you I agree 100% with what you just said. Very articulate, very straightforward to the point. The thing that gets me, that stands out about any of these comments, is how they will run and hide behind the stop being so PC. Let me translate that. That means I want to be able to go out and I am tired of being nice to you. I want to call you what I feel like calling you. So whether that be whatever, pick your epithet, pick it, you know. And, you know, just like you had people celebrating about Mass Effect Andromeda failing. They were like, yeah, that one guy that was there was a racist, and they, you know, and Anita Sarkeesian, you know, got in on that game, and it's all, you know, social justice. The characters were ugly, things. I mean, whatever you want to call it, you know, and it's just that's all it means. That's what it translates to. But yeah, I mean, look, guys. I mean, I don't know what a PewDiePie is. I mean, I saw a movie. And they were advertising YouTube Red before the movie, and it said something about PewDiePie, try to scare him or something like that. So he has a movie I think he produced on YouTube Red, and I know YouTube is one of his sponsors because he was the face of YouTube Red at the launch.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, one of the things. But yeah, I mean that unfortunately is the problem, is that you're going to have a group of people to make excuses for him because they're just like you. You know, and it's there's no such thing as being a little bit prejudiced or racist. That's like saying I'm a little bit pregnant. You know, either you are or you aren't. You are or you aren't. Yeah. And this guy, you know, based on what has happened over the last week and a half, he is. So how can you affect him? You find out who his sponsors are, which are public, by the way. You can go find that out on Google. Yeah. And then you start calling them up saying, hey, look, unless you pull support for this guy, we're going to boycott, you know, your stuff, you know. So that's how you do it. You know, one man can't make a difference. So, and don't think that you not buying something. It's just like what happened with Pepsi when they did their routine and about, you know, the police and all that kind of stuff. People went off on them and they had to pull the ad, you know, and at this, Pepsi stocks are down. Pepsi's usually during the summer the number one selling soda, number one brand. Now people aren't buying it, you know. People aren't buying it because of that commercial. So you're right.
You're right. You know, about his money, no, you know, I don't care about the guy's money. You know, his money makes nothing to me. It means nothing to me. Here's the thing, though, is there is a sense of, and maybe that's just the time and the culture that we have become. But we're at this juncture in history where I believe we're heading backwards. A lot of us don't care about our fellow citizen or our fellow human for a lot of reasons. A lot of it is for, we get used by politicians to divide us so they can continue to get rich, so we can continue to fight each other and blame, poor people or rich people or whatever. But at the end of the day, we have to cohabitate with each other. We have to live around each other. And what does this show our kids? How do you think our kids are going to turn out? Nobody is born racist. Racist is a taught item. A kid, when you're born, you know nothing. Your surroundings, where you are, your surroundings, your speech you hear, that cultivates you. What you're around, that cultivates you. So, this is pretty bad for PewDiePie. I don't really care for the guy. Again, for some of the stuff he said before, the trouble he's got into, I don't care for him, but that's just my opinion. But at the same time I wanted to speak to the guys who may or may not be thinking about defending what he said as free speech. Yes, we do live in a country that offers free speech. And that's the great thing about being in America, is we have the capability to say whatever we want. But with that comes responsibility. You can't say, hey, I get to say what I want and then expect no consequences.
Well, but that's what and see, I'm looking at your chat, and Halo Storm, this is exactly what people are saying. Mm-hmm. Well, he lives in a country where there's no black people. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that doesn't matter. So he says, and then he said he doesn't understand the consequences. I'm like, yeah, he does. He's a grown ass man.
Yeah. Somebody told him about that N-word. Somebody told him the meaning of it. He's not a hermit. He doesn't just live in a closet. Sure, he wakes up every day and he walks around town and he lives in a place with people who look just like him. But at the same time, this guy watches TV. This guy is not, again, he's not a newborn baby. He was created and he was surrounded and he was taught by people around him. And if people around him said this stuff, that's where he get it from. He's a grown man. There's just no defending that. He was grown enough to sign a contract with YouTube and all of these sponsors. He's, just like our president, you can't, say, well, he doesn't know or he's not experiencing it. That doesn't count. You're the leader of the free world. You just can't do that. But again, we have a responsibility to watch what we say, how we carry ourselves, because some of it does hurt. It does hurt. We see it right now when guys try to use the basis of their rights. Think about it. PewDiePie, he had the right to say what he said because that's what he felt like he wanted to say. And I don't want to take that right away from him. If he wants to say it a million more times, he can. But at the same time, he has to expect that I have the right to not buy the products that support him. I also have the right to unsub for him if I did. I also have the right to tell my friends, hey, don't sub to that guy or unsub to that guy. Don't buy the products who pay for this guy. So, yes. And no, he was not joking. It has nothing to do with a joke, guys. We can't spin this. You listen to the video, watch what he said. This is a live stream. This wasn't a recording where he uploaded. This wasn't a PewDiePie greatest hits.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and you can't spin this. And that's why I decided to have this video right here to tell people, no, there is no way of spinning it. And if you yourself do not want to fall in that bubble along with PewDiePie, then distance yourself from that and from the action. Right. Because what that tells me, you never want to be, if you're not racist, then you don't want to be suspected as being a racist. And how do you not be suspected as being a racist? Is you be far away from it as possible. You should be on the front line saying, hey, what he said is disgusting, reprehensible. I don't like it. I'm not going to support the guy. I don't support what he said. And that's it. But I'm seeing some guys, you know, who's just downright defending it. Like, it's normal. That is not normal. That is not normal. Let's not do that.
I haven't looked too much into it because the Twitter thing kept beeping. But I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Now, I'm not seeing anybody, you know, I'm not seeing, and it's not even that, it's how people rationalize their racism. Yeah. Oh, you know, oh, he said it, but you all say it. That's the rationalizing of what they're doing. So, and again, we're people of color, we'll never be able to rationalize what they're doing. So we tend to make, like I said earlier, we tend to make excuses for it. But you're right at the end. At the end of the day, everybody has a choice to make. Now, again, I'm not sub to him, so I know you probably are, we're not, but we're just simply saying if you are, unsub to him. Yeah. That's it. And if you want to take it, that's one step. And if you want to take it the next step, you can find out who his sponsors are. And then tomorrow, it ain't nothing but to bring them up on email and email them, hey, look, you're no longer going to support their product. Yeah, because of what they're doing with it. That's it. It'll take you, it'll take you 1 to 2 minutes to do that research. I mean, that's if you want to take it there. Or you may just say, I don't care that he said it. I'm still going to go and watch his videos. That's on you guys, though. It's not on us. We're not doing it. Yeah. So now,
I agree with you, Craig, 1,000%. Now, keep in mind, if you haven't heard what he said, you know, go watch some other people's videos with their responses to what he said, and they'll play the clip. I won't play the clip. Yeah. I won't sponsor this guy at all. I don't want to even show any attention to it. But the reason I'm doing this video, again, I've stated before, I'm doing it not because of PewDiePie, but I'm doing it because of my friends, of my white friends, my Latino and Asian friends in the YouTube community, in the gaming community. Is just to give you guys some context and understanding of why. Now, you know, as a person of color, as a black man, we're all grown, okay? And so I shouldn't have to sit here, and nobody should have to sit there and try to rationalize and justify why what he said is wrong. You shouldn't have to do that. This is 2017. And we, you know, we're not going to go on a history lesson here. You know, those days are over. The days are gone when people have to justify and try to educate people on why something is racist or why it's bad or why it's wrong. Those days are over. You're a grown person. Nobody has to explain to you why. You're grown. You can act ignorant and you can act like you know you just don't know and stuff like that. You can do it all you want, but at the same time, you're going to be classified is what it is. People, you know, it's time for us to stop sugarcoating stuff to protect people's feelings when they don't care themselves about the feelings that they're hurt with the stuff that they're saying. So if you're saying something wrong, why should I care about your feelings to explain something to you in a baby fashion where you can be comfortable with what I'm saying? Facts. So the thing is what he said was wrong. There is no excuse about it. And if you are taking up or trying to rationalize what he said and make it okay, then you're no better than him, and you're no better than that. That's the equivalent of saying I agree with what he said. Yeah, that's just plain and simple. That is just, it is what it is. And a lot, you know, I find out by looking in the comment section to a lot of people's videos, and you know, a lot of stuff that goes on YouTube and the internet. And in the comment section, there's always guys trying to rationalize and take up for that. First thing you can do these days in 2017 is call a person a racist. They don't like to be called racist, but they're okay with the actions of being racist. They're okay. They're okay with their actions, but they as long as you don't call them a racist, like how dare you call me a racist? I am not a racist. But yeah, I don't like black people and they stink and they this and they that. You know, you're okay with the actions and the words. You just don't want to be defined as a racist, and that is retarded. that makes zero sense to me. The action is the most important part, not even the word. It's the action.
Facts.
But again, when words are back a lot, 99% of the time, those words are backed up by action, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. And here in America, we have a culture and a history of not dealing with issues. And that's why we're dealing with a lot of issues that we have now regarding, racial stuff. We've never atoned for it. A lot of people want to get past it. Let's stop talking about it. Let's pretend like it doesn't exist. We've been doing that for hundreds of years. It doesn't work. We need to sit at the table. Some people need to get a history lesson, and they need to have the shoes put on the other foot before they understand. But I'm at the point in time right now, it's 2017. People understand. They just don't have to deal with it because it never comes back to them. If something never comes back to you, you could care less about it. You can care less who it's affecting. It doesn't affect you. But what goes around comes around. So, guys, always remember that. What goes around comes back around. So just be mindful of that. Craig, what do you have to say, man?
Yeah, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I mean, like I've said, there's a baseline misunderstanding of what a white extremist would be versus a white supremacist versus somebody who's racist and things like that. Yeah, people not speaking out about it. That's the problem that we're facing now. And yes, there are people who say, "Well, I know it's wrong, but I'm not going to do anything to help dismantle it." So again, what you have to do is say, well, I'm not going to put myself around that type of person. That's a personal choice that we all got to make, period. No matter who we are, if you know somebody that's like that, you need to say, all right, I'm going to roll up out of the room. I know people, I know white guys that have done that. Hey, look, don't use that language around me. If you say it one more time, I'll bounce.
Yeah.
So, and it is what it is. But yeah, you're right. It's 2017. As far as the reason why it was never dealt with is because the United States was supposed to give slaves certain amount of reparations to go off and start building things, and they just didn't do it. But shout out to Dr. Boyce Watkins, who said that's the misunderstanding. It's not like the people that came over were good people. The natives in the United States or in the Americas helped them, and how did they repay them? By stealing and raping them, and that's how they repay them. Yeah. So that's the history of this country. So it is what it is, and but what we can do, we have the internet. We all know at this point what PewDiePie is. Mm-hmm. We can either stop listening to him. I didn't know what a PewDiePie was, so and so it didn't affect me. It's disappointing because, like somebody said, he's got close to 60 million subs. So, and of course, some of them are going to defend him. And this, hey, look, if you're sub to him, all I can hope is that if you're sub to him, do some soul searching. And hopefully you wake up and you unsub to him. That's all I can say. I'm not. That's all I can say. So, but he probably will not. I know he was supposed to be at PSX this year. He was supposed to be like one of the people that came out on stage or introduced something. He won't be there now.
Well, hopefully he's not, because me and my wife, we're going to be at PSX, and if he is going to be on stage, you know what? They won't have my support and they won't have my money. And that's just what that is.
Yeah, you get associated with that. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, you're right. That's something that I can do. If I see that there's somebody that I've got their stuff in my house, it doesn't matter what it is. I don't care if it's a printer. If he is, I've got an Epson printer, But if he is on an Epson printer commercial or uses, whatever, yeah, I'll get rid of my Epson printer. I'll buy a $20. Go to Walmart. I'll get Dot Matrix. Y'all know me. Yeah. So like Savage Uger saying he's never watched a PewDiePie video. I didn't either. Like I said, I go to a lot of movies, and so when YouTube was advertising YouTube Red, that was he was one of the people, because I just remember that name. I was like, what the hell's a PewDiePie? Yeah, we were sitting there in the movie theater. It was just like, it's like Scare PewDiePie or something like that. So again, it's not a huge. To me, it's not a huge deal, except that it's not a surprise, but it's a huge deal that his subs are defending him. It's also disappointing. But that says more about his subs than it does, than anything else. I mean, people tell you who they are by who they associate themselves with.
Facts. Yeah. And that's basically what I wanted to. That's basically what I tried to sum up was, if you don't want to be associated with a racist or with someone who denigrates different people, whether you're Jews, whether you're blacks or whatever, if you don't want to be called a Nazi, if you don't want to be associated with that, then don't be on social media, trying to rationalize it, trying to get yourself to feel comfortable with what he said. Because basically that's what you're doing. If you're trying to brainstorm and figure out, I wonder why he said it. What context did he say it? Maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe he was just misunderstood. If that's the case, guys, if he's racist, I mean, it is what it is. You are who you're surrounded by. Those are just the facts. And if you do not want to be associated with that, and you not want to be called a racist or anything if you don't want to be misunderstood, stay away from it. Stay away from it. If you see some kids setting a building on fire and you walk over there and you don't want the police with your DNA and you don't want to be seen near that crime, why would you go over there? Why would you do it? And for the broader point, as being an adult, a grown adult, when does that fly? When does that fly away? You make excuses for a grown person on them saying something that's so heinous and horrible. Maybe some of you, maybe some people don't think it's horrible. Maybe they don't think it's a problem with what he said. Maybe that's why they're trying to rationalize it.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at what Halo Storm said in the chat. He said, at the end of the day, it's a horrible, hateful word, but it's just a word. I don't think he should be banned for PSX for a mistake in regard. Again, so let me answer this really fast. Okay, Halo Storm. Okay, that is correct. They may not ban him. He may not show up. I said I thought he was supposed to be there. But let's just say he shows up. Let's just say for argument's sake he does show up. Okay. I have the right as a consumer the very next day to go ahead, go on eBay and put my Sony products up for sale.
Fact.
And then I can email Sony and say, I'm selling all my Sony products because of what you all did at PSX.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's my decision as a consumer. That's my right. Now, that's what I'll do. I mean, that's what I will do. So, I mean, Kratos was even saying he's not watching the NFL because what the owners are doing to Colin Kaepernick. So, and that's a reality, so, and yeah, you can, it is just like, the same thing people did to Microsoft with the whole DMR shit. Yeah. Hey, look, we're going to have this, and this. We're like, yeah, right. You know what? I'm going to go buy something else or, get something else or just not get anything at all. So, and people got the right at the end of the day, at the end of the day. So, and you do not have to heed what we're saying. You just do not. Okay.
No, this is conversation we're having.
Yeah, and this is your choice, and could he give money away? Yeah, but that's the problem. But that falls back on us as black folks. We don't need to be accepting his charity.
Yeah.
We just don't have to accept his charity. So.
When you do stuff like that, what you're trying to do, you're trying to rationalize and pamper his justification for doing it. you shouldn't accept it at all. You know, saying if he's well, maybe he can donate or maybe he can. We shouldn't have any maybes. There should be no doubt and no maybes. Let's just stop. That's what we need to do. We need to just stop. Because what we're trying to do, we're trying to rationalize what he said, how he said it, when he said it, and how we can lessen the impact of what he did. This guy is live streaming with millions of people watching. He felt comfortable to say this. And then kept on going like it wasn't anything because it wasn't a big deal. You know why? Because he uses this, he says this in his everyday life.
Yeah, facts.
This wasn't a oops. I'm sorry, guys. If I'm playing Call of Duty and everybody in the chat, you know as well as I know, you're playing Battlefield, you're playing Call of Duty, you're playing these games. Sometimes something can get to you. Nothing ever makes you say the N-word. Call somebody a effing Nigger. That's not a oh shit moment. So let's stop trying to equate a oh shit moment with a effing N-word. It's you can't.
He's going to be having a oh shit moment if he comes to the United States and tries to think he's going to get out of here without something happening to him. You know. So.
Well, and another thing too, we need to stop it is a lot of these guys are trying to say, well, if this person here can say it and that person there can say it, why can't he say it? Again, it goes back to my main point. Why are you spending so much effort and time trying to rationalize PewDiePie saying something irreprehensible? Why?
Yeah.
If you didn't even spend enough time demanding that he apologize and stop supporting the products and the brands that pay him, you're putting in more effort to defend him than you are to admonish him. What does that say about you? Let that think in, whether it's subconsciously or consciously, whether you know you're doing it or whether you don't know you're doing it. Think about that. Just sit back and let that sink in your head.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's at the end of the day, he has declared who he is and what he is. So now you got to start looking at the people who are defending him and rationalizing what he did. So that's the next, that's your next, him being targeted because it's the next day of, well, whatever it is over there. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. So I mean, you wake up in the morning, if it's still trending or something like that, that means it's been really gassed up. So all I'm going to do at this point is, one, I wasn't sub to him, so I wouldn't even have known if people hadn't put it on my Twitter feed. And number two, I can look at who is sponsoring him and just make sure I don't use those products. So that's the next thing. That's nothing but a quick Google search. Or Bing or whatever you want to use, Yahoo, Bing, Google is kind of becoming the default thing. But that's just what I am going to do. So, and that is up to you all as individuals, if the people here or in the chat or who hear this later, it's up to you all if you are sub to him to unsub to him. There's nothing I can do about that. So,
Well, I'll tell you what, man, we live in a world where we have consequences for everything. For every action, there's a consequence.
Yeah.
For every action, there's a consequence. So guess what? PewDiePie loves saying effing N-word to somebody. Okay, fine. But the consequence to that is I won't support him. I won't support any brand that is paying him or YouTube. And I'm just one person, so it may not matter. But I tell you what, I know a lot of people, and I know a lot of people who know a lot of people, and I know a lot of people who know a lot of people who know a lot of people. So that's why we can sit back and try to rationalize all we want. What he said, there is no listen. There is a sense of responsibility, guys. I know I only have a handful of subs, and I'm grateful for the subs I have, and I'm grateful for everyone in the chat section. You guys are my friends. I rock out with you. I communicate with you all the time. You guys know how to reach me on Twitter. I'm always with Craig. You guys are part of the channel. You guys are the channel. So, I mean, therefore, I have a sense of responsibility in what I'm saying, how I said it, when I said it. Guys, if I'm out here just saying a bunch of hateful stuff, a bunch of bad stuff, a bunch of racist stuff, it is your right. It's your responsibility to not support me.
Facts.
That is your right. That is your responsibility as an adult. And when you don't, and you try to rationalize me saying a bunch of hateful stuff, saying a bunch of whatever, and you can call it, again, let's take the politics out of it. The politics side of it is going to say, oh, people are just being too sensitive. They're just being snowflakes. They're just PC. They're just being PC. It has nothing to do with being politically correct. What part of common sense and being a damn adult does it mean to just do what's right? This guy gets paid millions of dollars to entertain people. And you have people trying to justify, well, maybe we shouldn't ban him. Maybe we should just have him to donate to charity. Maybe we should just take a breather. Maybe what he said isn't that bad. Maybe it didn't harm anybody. Maybe it's no, there is no maybes. Maybes are just like buts. Anytime you're dealing with hate and you're dealing with race, you're dealing with identity, a but is an affirmation. An affirmation is saying, yes, I agree with what was said. And if you do not want to be in that camp of being a racist, a bigot, a homophobe, a xenophobe, or anything else, you know, distance yourself from it and don't try to justify it. Right is right and wrong is wrong. You can never turn a wrong into a right. I'm sorry, guys, you can't. A wrong is a wrong for a purpose. There's a reason we live as humans with actions and repercussions. There's a reason we have repercussions for every action. If we didn't have repercussions, there would not be one man left living in the world. We'd all just kill each other and then that'll be it. But there's a reason we have repercussions. There's a reason why we have rules and we have logic. We have man law. We have human law. We have, you know, worldly law. We have all of these laws and just common sense laws. Race, being a racist, being a bigot, no matter what political, you know, side of the spectrum you are. Again, this is not a liberal. This is not a conservative. This is not a right wing. This is not a left wing. This is none of that stuff. You leave the politics to the politicians. This is gaming. This is a small community. And this guy is using his YouTube platform in our industry. This is ours. This is all of ours. This is our favorite hobby. We spend money. We communicate. We play games with each other. We support these companies. We support our platform. We're very close niche. But when a guy used that platform to say denigrating and racial things on a live stream of millions of people, and he could care less, what does that say about us if we continue to support that? What do you have to say, Craig?
Yeah, it says more about us as anything else. I mean, that's ultimately what it's about. I mean, it's about what we're going to do now. I'm talking we being the people that are sub to it. I'm not. So my next, like I said, my next step is to find out who his, you know, who is supporting him financially and go in on them. You know, so that's my next step. You know, but you know, go in on them not publicly. You know, you email them. Hey, look, I'm a support. I bought this product for this many years. Since you support this guy who's a outright racist, I will no longer be supporting your product. Thank you. Have a nice day. You sign, you date it, and then that's it. that's the end of it, you know. So you know, so yeah, I mean, it really depends on what you all want to do at the end of the day with it. I mean, you may wake up tomorrow, you may have 70 million subs. I mean, you don't know. All I'm saying to you is that you got to make up your mind what you want to do, and then move in on it, and then move on it. So and we'll have to wait and see how it turns out for him. You know, definitely we'll monitor it, but I'll look in on it. I won't bring it up on my channel unless somebody in the chat brings it up. That's all I can do. You just don't want to give me more time than he already has. And again, I do know he's a part of YouTube now, because I do remember, like I said, that those movies, and he was part of the initial launch of YouTube Red. Because they're like, okay, you use this, and then you push it, you got umpteen million subs, other people will start using it, because that's what people are going to start doing because of the demonetization. They're going to start using YouTube Red because you get charged for that, like $10 a month. But with that said, because you're licensed to use it, you can go ahead and use whatever language you want, say or do whatever you want. So, but I agree with you. Yeah, it's at this point, it's now about now that you know about who he is, it's now, let's see how people go. Let's just see I know what I'm going to do, but I'm one man. So and I've told people, I'll find out who his people are that are supporting him financially. But whoever that is, just say, all right, if I use that product, I won't use it again. And then I'll tell people about it, word of mouth. Hey, look, these are the people that use PewDiePie's product, or here's some of the sponsors. You need to boycott these sponsors. That's it. End of discussion. Yeah. So but that's what I'm going to do.
All right, man. So, well, that's good, man. We can all do our part to, for one, let's clean the whole gaming thing up. Let's clean this up. YouTube, who cares? It's Google. They're a freaking uber rich company, and they make money off our content. They make money off of our identity. Everything that we do, anytime we use, Google, they sell our data. That's what they do. They make money off of people. And, and until they have someone who's going to come and give them competition, they're going to continue to try to do whatever they can. And this is not a rant against YouTube or whatever. Only, unless YouTube decides to not do anything about PewDiePie. They have to do something. I know he said something, some anti-Semitic stuff, like he was supporting the Jews and stuff. I mean, the Nazis and stuff like that. A few weeks back, and that was already hard. He lost a lot of sponsors on that. So it's like, first time, shame on you. The second time, shame on me. How long are we gonna let's stop with the trying to rationalize this stuff? People who say racist stuff, let's just call them racist and be done. Let's just not support them. Why do we have to spend a lot of time and energy trying to justify what they said, how they said it, when they said it, their right to say it? You're taking up for them. And therefore, you're associating. You don't want to be associated, because if you're associated with it, and I call him a racist, then guess what? Then I'm going to have to call you a racist because you're associated with him. And I don't want to do that.
Facts.
I don't want to do that. There's a term. I like, shout out to Tariq Nasheed, the suspected white supremacist. That's his term for when, people try to justify other people being harmed and treated badly, and having racist terms and racism put upon other people. If you don't want to be suspected of that, then don't do it. If you don't want to be suspected as being a racist, then don't hang around racist people. Don't support racist people. I don't like the Dallas Cowboys. I'm here in Houston, Texas. Guess what? I don't go to Cowboys games. I don't buy Cowboys jerseys. I don't watch them on TV. That's simple, right? That didn't take any time for me to say, hey, I don't like this. Guess what? So I don't want to be a part of it. It took zero effort. Say, yeah, I don't like the Cowboys, but I'm watching their games. I'm wearing their jerseys. I'm trying to justify them going to the playoffs. You see how they make me? You see how they make me look? Doesn't that make me look like I associate with the Cowboys, right? Well, then that's just common sense, guys. We can't be adults one day and then the next day try to pretend like, oh, we're adolescents and we just don't know. Come on, we know what it is when it comes to race. Let's stop it. We've been pretending too long to try to justify people's feelings and make them feel comfortable. Let's stop it. It's 2017.
Yeah.
Any last words, Craig, before we be out of here?
Nah, man, I think that summed it up very nicely. It's just, it's now about individuals and what they do, because we know. Nobody can say we don't know. So we'll just have to wait and see how this turns out. I'll keep an eye on it, and I know you will too. And so shout out to the people in the chat that were able to join us and hang out with us. And we'll. I'm gonna be doing another Craig's Corner on Wednesday. I believe I'm off, so check me out on that about noon. We'll see what's broken and what's going on with gaming, because I think there's some more games coming out this month. I think Cuphead is coming out this month, and I'll see after spending about 4.5 hours on Destiny, I'll be able to give it a review.
Okay, so, cool. Well, thanks, guys. Savage, Halo Storm, Almighty Spartan God. That's my Kratos brother there. Garuda, everybody else, much love. I rock out with you guys. Thank you guys for supporting us. Thank you for coming and checking us out. I did want to address this. Again, this is a platform, and yes, it's for gaming, but guess what? This is gaming related.
Facts.
We can fight the great fight of the console wars any day and any time, but we also have to address other issues when it comes to gaming as well. And those who did not want to listen or tune in, they didn't. And those that wanted to hear what we had to say, they did. And I thank you guys for it. Either way, talk to you guys later. Thank you again. And remember, our money counts. Not just with Microsoft and Sony, but with people we sponsor, whether we sponsor them directly or not. So thank you guys again. Have a great evening. Enjoy your work week.